I'm August, Open Senior 2020, and I'm going to explain to you why this table will be the bane of your existence for one very minute reason. So to start, say you've got everything set up. You're running a piece, it's going great. You run into an error. Piece is sticking up out of the water, it hits it, breakaway error, ohmic cap error, something that makes it stop the program. For some reasons I cannot explain, this table is a pain when it stops. Under no circumstances would I ever personally stop this table, if at all possible. If you have to, obviously, stop it. I'm about to cover how to regain your spot that you were at. But for any small reason, I wouldn't stop because it's going to be a pain to get it back in place. Now again, I said that you can have several errors that are going to cause it to stop, such as a breakaway open, ohmic cap open, etc., etc. Now, when this happens, it's not going to be as simple as run job, it's going to restart right where it left off and be happy hunky-dory. No, it's going to throw error after error after error, no matter what you do. So here's the only two ways, one's easy, one's complex, on how I have figured out how to regain a spot on your cut path. So say this is our image we're going through, we make it to the last line that you have to cut out. In this particular program, it was the outline right here. And it hit a piece over here, knocked the breakaway open, the toolpath failed, and it stopped. Now, you cannot just click run job because it's going to start erroring out. You're not going to be able to do anything with it. If you click reset and run it again, you're going to counter errors of it going down into the water, not hitting right. It's going to hit your piece and move the whole thing, breakaway open again, all that fun stuff. So here is the easy way first on how to regain your spot on a cut path. The first thing I would do, raise your Z up, remove your error, fix whatever's going on. Then this little button right here, it says active run, make it a dry run. I covered what this is in the aluminum video. You can watch that if you want. I'll also explain it again. The difference between active run and a dry run, your dry run is just meaning that your torch is going around the path in the file that it has, but it's not actually cutting anything. Your active run means that it's going to do the path and it's going to actually cut the metal. So, like I said, change it to a dry run. This little button right here, reset your program, run job. Now, it's going to run through the job again, except not cut it. The only difference is, whenever you're doing this, grab a flat piece of metal with not many holes in it. You may have to stand by here and do it. I explained also, how the ohmic cap sensing works. So as it's going along, you're going to take this piece of metal, lay it under it, do not touch it, but the torch is going to come down and touch that metal. The issue is, say you have a piece like this, right here. It's coming along, cutting, blah, 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 blah. You have to redo it. When it goes to try and cut this, the way it cuts, it's not going to hit the metal over here, and since that this is the height of the metal, it's going to come down right here. And then the tip of the torch is going to be lower than the height of the metal. And what it's going to do when it tries to make that path of the eyeball, it's going to hit it and drag it, just like that. You don't want that because it's going to air out again. So that's why I say, take this piece of metal, lay it over top of where it's going to start sensing the metal. You'll see it come down, lay it over the top like that so the cap comes and touches it. And then you can take it away, it doesn't matter. Do that for all of your big open areas like this and this and this. Little stuff like this, it really doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt anything. But the big holes and gaps, that's where you want to make sure to do that. Now, that is as it's going through the dry run. Once you get to the point that you stopped at, you always want to, like I said, you don't want to pause it again because you're going to run into the same area and keep going through this again. So you're going to have to kind of time it right. So say, we still have the eye to cut out. It just finished doing the outline. It messed up here, ignore that. But say it just finished doing the outline. Came up to here, stopped, torch picks up, comes over this way. Before it actually pierces the metal, you're going to want to come over here and select active run. You can do that while the torch is still in motion. You can, turn it off, turn it on, whatever you need to do. But do that before it actually pierces the metal at the point that you're doing. But say it was doing the outline and it didn't finish the outline, so you have this much of it left. You don't want to start the torch as an active run once it gets to this point. You want to go ahead and set it as an active run before it pierces the path that it's taking. So, say it's cutting out the outline, like I said, going all the way around here, and it doesn't cut out, this section of it. Make it an active run before it pierces this path and runs around. So that way it actually pierces right according to the G-code and settings. Then it'll run around, finish. Hopefully you should be good after that. Now, here's the not so fun way to do this. If you go over here to this tab, it'll pull up your G-code. This is the programming and the coding for every path and motion endpoint that the torch is going to pass through. Notice how it's a lot. When the torch is in motion, right after it stops and airs out, the last point that it was at is going to be highlighted. It's not going to highlight for me, but it'll highlight blue as long as you don't move it. That highlighted spot is the last place the torch will be at. That's where it ended. You'll notice though that the programming is in groups like this. These short lines of code right here, these are going to be your pierce points. Now, the way to do this, say it stopped right here. Or no, say it stopped like at this line. Your 241, 3497. Memorize every detail of that line as your reference. Memorize, roughly where it's at on the scroll bar, blah, blah, blah. You're going to come in here to edit GM. You're going to go ahead and highlight everything up to that point. I already forgot what point I was looking at, so I'm just going to pick a random point. So say it came down right here, your 0.0190. The issue is that your pierce point, if you delete up to this point, it's not going to pierce and finish the path. You have to only highlight up to this line right here, right before it. You have to make sure that it includes that pierce point and then runs the path that it's trying to finish up to this point. Usually it's better to start at the M65. It's worked before starting at the G01 code line, but it's better if you can find the last M65 or M64, because you can delete everything up from there. After you delete that, you're going to have to click File and Save, and that's going to save the toolpath. Now, if you ever want to cut this piece out again, you're going to have to go through and remake it in Torchmate, but for the purposes of finishing it and not wasting a sheet of metal, you've deleted it, you've saved it, you have a new toolpath that is 10 times shorter. Close out of that. Now, you should be able to click Reset. It'll go back to the last pierce point according to the code that you deleted. Now, at this point, after you've cleared your errors, fixed it, whatever else you need to do, you should be able to click Run Job, and it'll continue from that point in the code that you started at. So, as my example, say it was cutting out the outline here. The code that you left started at the pierce point here and ran the code for going all the way around this piece. Hopefully, if you did it right, that is the only thing it's going to do, and then it'll be finished. That's the only job file that's going to be left. You can check it by coming over here, click on Plan again, and if, say you deleted everything else except the outline of this piece right here, the only thing that will be showing will be the outline of that piece. Everything else will be gone because there isn't a code for it. After you run it, hopefully it does it right, you have your piece actually cut out and finished, and the headache is hopefully going to be gone. There's probably always going to be more to it, but those are the two easiest ways that I have found to continue a file that messes up and errors out on the plasma table.